Margaret Ferrier.
Thank you, Mr Nuttall, and it is an honour to serve under your chairmanship. And I would like to thank the members of the public, those who created the petition, and the 102,131 people who signed it. They are responsible for securing this very important debate today, and I'd like to thank the Honourable Member for Hertsmere for leading on the debate. Like many of the other members here today, I have received a great many emails from constituents asking me to attend this debate, and I didn't need to be asked twice. Animal welfare is something both they and I care deeply about. I have contributed to several other debates in this place regarding the treatment and well-being of dogs, but none were quite so difficult to prepare for as this one. In spite of a conscious effort to look at the trade in an impartial light, aware of any cultural bias I might have, it was nonetheless very difficult to read about, look at photographs and watch videos on the subject. It is clear that dogs are being treated in an appalling way, something that most, if not all of us, would condemn in very strong terms. What I and other SNP members would encourage is a cautious and culturally sensitive approach to effect, an approach that would support animal rights groups in that country who are already working to bring an end to the dog meat trade. The government in Scotland takes animal welfare issues incredibly seriously and continues to lead the way both in terms of protection and promotion of animal rights. Just last week, in fact, the Scottish Government was commended by the British Veterinary Association for the inclusion of the Wild Animals in Circuses Bill in its programme for government. My desire is that others will follow this example and similar action be taken in other parts of the UK and Northern Ireland. I would hope that the UK Government is truly committed to the protection of animal rights. However, recent attempts to reintroduce fox hunting have cast doubt upon that. Fortunately, due to the SNP's support for the continuation of the ban, the UK Government decided to drop the planned vote on the issue, and the SNP will continue to effectively fight for animal rights, both in Scotland and here in Westminster. Whilst I welcome the UK Government's response to the petition, I hope its apparent sincerity is backed by continued action. I welcome the fact that the British Embassy in Seoul has raised the issue of cruelty towards animals on numerous occasions with the South Korean authorities, and I hope that they continue to do so at each appropriate opportunity. In the run-up to the Winter Olympics in 2018, it's vital that this important issue is not allowed to be ignored and that the trade not simply be hidden from sight. In an attempt to avoid criticism, the South Korean government hid all the dog meat restaurants from the sight of international media during the 1988 Seoul Olympics. The dog meat industry in the Republic of Korea is still thriving today, almost 30 years later. It's important that 3 decades on, authorities are not simply allowed to adopt a policy of out of sight, out of mind. Reports that dogs are mistreated and abused in the dog meat trade are much too distressing to be ignored or concealed. Whilst we must exercise caution in our approach to the cultural practices of other countries, we have a duty to these voiceless animals to try and bring about change. Charities have highlighted some of the terrible conditions in which the 2 million dogs slaughtered for each year are kept in. Animal welfare groups have attested that some traditional beliefs can encourage more torturous conditions for dogs, such as the thinking that high adrenaline levels will produce tender meat. Dogs are also often confined in small wire cages until their slaughter, usually by electrocution. It is claimed that they are often improperly transported in cramped conditions and without access to water. This cannot and must not be ignored. In addition to raising the issue with Korean authorities, I would ask that the UK Government also promote effective implementation of existing laws in South Korea and encourage public awareness of the often horrific conditions dogs are kept in for the meat trade. It is promising that the dog meat trade appears to be decreasing in popularity, something that the UK Government have acknowledged in the response to the petition. There is no doubt that this appears to partly be a generational issue, and attitudes are changing. Younger South Koreans appear to be moving away from dog meat, which is encouraging. This fact, however, is not reason enough to ignore the ongoing problem and wait for it to disappear. If this is to be a generational shift with not much else done, then members could very well be debating this very same issue in this place in another 30 years' time. I don't want to be one of these people doing that. Thank you.